Well, joining me on Rockposer Chats on this occasion is Fiona Long, who's here to talk about what is more than a little exciting project-wise regarding a tribute to her son, the very much missed Matt Long. Fiona, welcome to Rockposer Chats.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Well, when you sent over the email saying about the tribute album that's coming up for Matt, I mean, the list of names on it is quite incredible, and it just goes to show the level of love and support that the music and the blues community have and have always had for Matt.
Yeah, I think it's been very overwhelming for us as well. I think Matt would have been completely overwhelmed by the support, and everybody we went to in the music world that were friends of Matt's have all said yes. So they've all donated a track. Basically, everything is Matt's music apart from the title track, which is with a little help from my friends, which was the finale at one of the benefit gigs for Matt, the last one at the stables in Milton Keynes, when we had Brave Rival and Ben Paul and Will Wild and the Chinellis. So that was a bit of a big old finish for the benefit gig, and it just seemed like an appropriate, not only a closer for the album, but a title for the album because without them, this wouldn't have happened. None of this album would have happened.
When the sort of the mutings for this album first came about, were you just expecting maybe a couple of people just to sort of join in or help out? You know, or were you expecting some of the names? Obviously, apart from the people from the British blues scene, you've got people like Walter Trout and Joe Bonamassa involved. These are not lowly names on the music
Yeah.
scene.
We were really lucky with that because the person who initially suggested just the very seed of this idea was a guy called Dudley Ross,
Right.
who is a musician from Kent. And he organises tours for Joe Bonamassa's second guitarist, Josh Smith.
Yeah.
And obviously Josh has close connections with Joe. He sees him pretty much every day. So Dudley just suggested that we might try asking if Joe would mind doing a guitar solo on one of Matt's songs. And that was initially it, just the one song. And it was going to be like some kind of a passing single thing, and it would have been great. um, but then I thought, well, he had so much support for the benefit gigs last summer when he was poorly
Hmm.
that it would be quite nice to ask some of the people who were involved in that as well. So I can give you a list of the people who are in it if you'd like to go through
Sure,
this. But
absolutely. I'm sure people will be more than a little bit interested to know who's involved.
yeah, I'm gonna have to read because there's so many. We've got 16 tracks altogether. So we've got
Okay.
obviously Joe and Walter, and then we've got Els Bailey, the Chinellis, Blue Nation, Sean Webster, When Rivers Meet, Brave Rival, Will Wild, Zach Schultz, Alice Armstrong, Don Martin, Chantal McGregor, Katie Bradley, and also his best friend from music college, who is now a vocalist with metal band Avantasia, girl called Adrienne Cowan.
Yeah.
And he's also got two of his guitar teachers from ACM in Guildford doing guitar solos as well. So it's it's the blues family have come together for him, which is really lovely.
It's one of those things where I guess people who are not into blues and also rock don't understand the strength of community that comes behind things. And we could also, where we mentioned Walter Trout, how
Mm,
people came together when obviously he needed his transplant.
for
Yeah,
sure.
that was staggering. So for those of us involved in this scene, it's no real surprise that the support is there, I guess.
No, but nevertheless, we really do appreciate it because these are very busy people. Els Bailey, for goodness sake, she's touring all over the world all the time, and when rivers meet as well. So they're all very much all over the place. But they still made time to do it, and Bonamassa and Walter, and it's just beyond belief, really, that all these people have given their time to do this because they had to spend time learning the songs and finding time to get into the studio and all this kind of thing, and they've done all this for nothing. And all of the proceeds from this album will be going to the cancer unit that looked after Matt. So hopefully, off the back of this, there'll be some money raised to help other cancer patients that are in the same boat as Matt was, and hopefully make their cancer journey a bit less awful. So
That would be a very fitting thing indeed, that kind of support. Um, I guess it's very hard to talk about without getting a lump in the throat.
yeah, it's still difficult. Yes.
I mean, I met Matt on a few occasions, and the website was lucky enough to sponsor an acoustic set he did with Ollie Brown. And I've got to say, yeah, it's a cliche when people talk about how people are or how people were. I mean, he was just one of the nicest, friendliest blokes you could ever talk to. Um, Laid back, time was never a problem. You never felt you were rushed when you were talking to him, and that says a lot about somebody.
Mm. Well, I think that's the nicest thing anyone can say to a parent is that you've raised a good person, and he was a lovely guy. So
I mean, music-wise. For those who don't know Matt, and I can't believe there's many people who don't, he managed to put his foot in two sides, as I say. He had his blue side, obviously, with Catfish and his solo stuff, but he also managed to dip his foot in the rock side as well, which I was lucky to see at Leo's on one occasion. And my God, that was one hell of a gig.
yes, yeah, no, that was one of his loves from ACM, really, from
Right.
music college. Um, he started a couple of fairly heavy. One was a sort of almost a glam rock band, um,
Okay.
and then there was another one called Seven Smith, which was very metal, along the lines of Alter Bridge. Um, Alter Bridge was one of his, well, was his favourite band, really, and then he created his own band called Matt Long and the Revenant Ones,
Hmm.
which went, they created a really good album. But it's just a very crowded market. There's so many very good rock bands out there that it's quite hard to stand out, especially when you're trying to do another band at the same time, because Catfish were busy touring in Europe and so on as well. So it was very hard for them to break through in, as I say, a very crowded market of rock bands. So we ended up getting to the point where it was just splitting him too thin. So
Right.
had to let it go. But it's a shame because it's a really, really good album and some really good songs on it. In fact, there's a couple of the songs that have cropped up on this new album. A couple of people chose to do songs from the Revenant Ones album. So it's not all blues. Um, but Blue Nation have done one. Zach Schultz has done one, which is just incredible. And Oh, and Don Martin has taken what was a very scary metal song, stripped it right back to an acoustic, basically voice and guitar, which sounds weird, but it's just spine tingling because it makes you listen to the words, and it's just extraordinary what he's done with it. When he first said what song he wanted to do, I was going, "Oh my goodness, how is that ever going to work?" But it really has. It's been one of the standout tracks on the album for me, which is interesting.
I guess that shows the fact that he's been able to do that with that particular song just shows the strength and level of songwriting that Matt achieved.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's one song that stands out really for most people, which is "Broken Man," which is on the first originals album that the band did, and that still for me stands out as an extraordinary song about self-doubt and anxiety and depression, which Matt suffered with a little bit, but it's very dark. When you actually listen to the words, it's very open and very vulnerable. It makes him very vulnerable. So it's quite a brave song to write, really, about your mental state. So
Absolutely.
he was a good songwriter.
Well, the important thing, of course, is when's the album coming out? When are the pre-orders available? Yeah, because I think people are going to be very interested in getting themselves a copy of this.
I hope so. I say there's so many good people on it that
Mm.
there's something for everybody on there. But yes, it's the pre-release goes live quite soon. It's on the 7th of November, and which would have been Matt's birthday, so that's the reason for that. And then we're going to release a single that day as well. And then there'll be, I think, 3 or 4 other singles that will be released over the next couple of months. So the album won't officially be released until I think it's going to be the 20th of March, unless
Okay.
things around about then. But yeah, I mean, with the pre-release will be on the 7th of November. So we're quite excited about that.
And where will people be able to to find that? Is it on a particular Facebook or website?
Well, I've created a new website which there'll be a QR code which I'll give to all the artists who are involved to put on their own shop, so that it will redirect to this particular one, just so that all the funds for the sale of the album
Yeah.
go into the charity account. Um, so hopefully everybody who's involved won't mind putting that on their shop. But it'll also be on the Catfish website and the Burning Rope website, which is Paul's new band, Matt's dad's new band.
Yes,
So
one of my guys just reviewed the album and absolutely loved it. It's a fantastic release.
yeah, it's very, very different from
Mm,
Catfish. Because Paul's influences are more proggy, I suppose, and singer-songwritery. So it's much gentler, let's say, than Catfish. But some incredible musicians. I mean, it's basically what was Catfish at the end, which was
yeah.
Mitch Weaving on drums and Adam Pike on bass and Paul on keyboards, with a really good guitarist called Alex Voisey from Gloucestershire, who has fitted in really well. And I said to him at the beginning, don't try and copy what Matt used to do. Just do Alex Voisey, do you? And he's done that really well and just sort of taken it on board. And they're all writing together now as well, which is good news.
I'm delighted that Paul has got back into music. Obviously, it's understandable, what an incredibly difficult time it's been for both of you. But
Yeah,
I
it
think,
took him a while. It took him a
yeah,
while, several months before he could play again, really. But it's a shame when you're a musician deep down in your soul and you can't play. So you couldn't just not do it at
mm,
all. But between us, we decided that there couldn't be another Catfish without Matt.
no.
So it would have to be a different band and different kind of music. And there's a couple of Catfish songs in the set, but they'll be moving away from that now because they're writing their own. So and it's, as I say, a very different kind of animal to Catfish.
Well, Fiona, thanks ever so much for taking the time this morning to chat to me. I'm certainly, um, without any shadow of a doubt, excited for this album. I mean, because, well, the name's on it, just unbelievable. The cream of British blues, as well, of course, as Walter and Joe. Um,
Yeah,
I hope, and I'm saying I hope, but I believe that this album will be great, and any funds that are raised to help other people who are unfortunately in the position that Matt was is a wonderful thing.
yes, I hope so. I hope he would have been pleased with it.
Fiona, thanks very much indeed.
Thank you very much.